Good afternoon, Facebook world. I'm so excited today. I know this was an impromptu meeting, but I have absolutely one of the best coaches, mentors, real estate trainers in the industry joining me live today, Mr. John Joseph himself in person. He's not hiding. He is out on Facebook Live. Take note, everyone. This is a new thing. John, are you uncomfortable?
I have not even been on Facebook before.
That is a fact. That is a fact. We are creating content today and picking the mind of this great man because for those that don't know John, he has been an icon in the real estate industry here in Las Vegas for many, many years. What is it, like
23 years now?
23 years, which is crazy because you started when you were like 17.
Yeah,
so
right. When I had hair.
And he was a top producing agent, team leader, worked his way up and decided one day, I think he lost his mind or he drank too much. And then he decided he was going to become a broker manager.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And he was wildly successful. That is the era in which I met him, the broker manager era. And I will never forget, I'm just letting some people jump on right now. The day we met, I walked up to you. It was probably my second year in the business, and I was slaying the short sale game, cocky as all heck. And I walked up to you and said, "You the new guy?" And you, being a guy from Philly, gave it right back to me and said, I mean, what's it to you? Or something like that. Real smart ass.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah, exactly. And we kicked off an incredible coaching mentorship game for probably now 15 years, maybe 18 years, close to somewhere in that range. And has been an incredible inspiration to me personally. He has put me in this hot seat so many times, ladies and gentlemen, being interviewed. So I am so excited to pick your brain today. Are you ready?
You realize you are the first person ever to interview me.
And let me tell you, I am so grateful, honestly, in all truth, for giving me the opportunity to do this. I'm excited to talk about all your recent endeavors, your speeches, coaching. Let me get my words right. Speaking engagements, coaching work that you're still currently doing, the book that you have out, which I know from our personal conversations has been a project and a goal of yours for many, many years. So it's super exciting to see you finally launch this collection. And I haven't made it to the end of it yet, but I am like vigorously reading with super excitement. So you've graciously allowed me the time to pick your brain today, and people can certainly in the comments ask you any questions. I'm hoping to find them here. Oh, there they are. So if you have any questions, if people are saying, "Hi, John, who's that handsome man?" Obviously, they're talking about you. So we're going to run through some questions today.
Facebook user.
Yeah. Well, unless you have your Facebook account registered to StreamYard, I don't always see your name. So if you want to put your name in the comments to get the shout out, I'm totally open to that. So let's, without further ado, kick it off because, John, I wrote down a list of really important questions. Is it okay if I ask them now?
Yeah, of course you did, because you scripted it beautifully.
I mean, I've been trained by the best. So getting back to your bio, John, you began your career as a highly successful real estate agent, team leader. What in the world inspired you to become a branch manager and a coach and get into more, transition out of that production role into a leadership role?
Well, like you said, I think I was drinking heavily that day when I made that transition. But honestly, I came from a corporate world where there was a lot of structure and there were very definite answers to questions and problems. And honestly, Nicole, when I got into the real estate business, I would ask a question of maybe 3 people and get 9 different answers. And I'm thinking, how could a real estate agent even think of succeeding when they can't get one straight answer, or at least a consistent answer to their question? And that's when I learned, even through one of our mutual coaches, that there was just so many different ways to do business and so many answers to questions that agents get confused, right? And they don't know which way to follow, and that's why they fail.
Yeah,
So
that's
when I
true.
decided to make that jump to a branch manager, it gave me the opportunity to hone the message for at least that group of agents within that office that I was hired to work in.
That's awesome. So you saw, what I hear you saying is you saw a need and desire for strong, consistent leadership. And you said,
And a
I'm not
strong,
clearly,
consistent message.
yeah, you said clearly I'm making too much money.
Yeah, I'm making too much money. I got to stop.
I got to go into management.
Right, exactly.
Well, we are,
I broke the what was it, the what's the saying, when you don't produce in real estate they just make you a manager. Well, I
yeah.
broke that because I was producing at a pretty high rate, and I
Mhm.
just saw a need that I want to go help agents succeed by giving them a consistent message that they could follow.
Which you did very, very well during your time at Berkshire Hathaway. I witnessed it firsthand. You took the Green Valley office from what rank to what rank in what amount of time?
We were well, this is according to Gordon Miles, who was the COO, and I just finished doing a little training session for him and his agents. When he introduced me, he said we went from 180th to number one in the country in a matter of about 18 months. And
Yeah,
all
it
that
was an
was
incredible.
teaching a one solid message.
Yeah, and I know there's others on this chat. Alex Mavros just chimed in. He's here, and there's so many of us that got to witness that incredible transformation of what was already a good company, and you made it certainly way more efficient and great. And we got someone watching from Ohio. That must be your fan club, your East Coast fan club. So hello, thanks for joining in. So thank you for all you did because you impacted so many agents during that era. And
Mhm.
yeah, thankless work. That's God's work right there.
Well, I'll tell you, I learned a lot of versatility,
You sure
a,
did.
a whole heck of a lot of versatility, having to deal with 300 agents at the time.
Yeah. And some of them were completely crazy. I mean, not me, of course, but
Oh no, it was.
anyway.
I'm the one who was taking the medication at that time.
So moving forward, for
Uh-huh.
people that did not get to experience you and your incredible leadership of a company firsthand, um, there's a lot going on in the market right now.
Yeah.
This isn't a Zoom about settlements or anything else. But you are one of the best mindset coaches I've ever experienced. And when I get compliments about how strong my mindset is, particularly under duress or pressure, I go back to a lot of the things that you taught me. So,
Mhm.
what strategies do you recommend for real estate agents that are concerned about upcoming changes in the selling process?
Ah, okay. Well, good question. Thank you for scripting it out. So, what has to happen? I think what agents have to really start focusing on is what is their real purpose in working with a client? What's their value proposition, for lack of a better term? You know, Listing agents are used to giving value propositions. Now, probably 10% of them are good, 90% of them are fair, right? Because 90% of them all sound the same. 10% of them have something that differentiates them from everyone else. I think now from the buyer side, we're going to have to see the same set of skills where buyer's agents are going to have a solid scripted buyer presentation that separates them from absolutely every other agent in their marketplace. And I think the only thing
100%.
that's going to help their mindset is when they know exactly what they have to offer. And I don't think enough agents understand that right now. As
Yeah,
a
I would
buyer,
agree with that.
yeah, as a buyer's agent, what do we do? They all say the same thing. Hey, we're going to sit down at the MLS together. I'm going to negotiate. I'm going to get you through the inspections and the appraisals. I'm going to go to closing. Yeehaw. Pay you $500 for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. But what's going to cause you to get a seller, or I'm sorry, a buyer to potentially pay you 2 or 3% of a $500,000 home? What's going to separate you from everybody else? And I think as agents, even listing agents, when they figure out their value and how they're going to benefit the client, that's going to help their confidence, and it's also going to help their mindset.
100%. And if I can throw my 2 cents in there, I think the last, I don't know if it's been 5 or 10 years of the mega team and the lead buying and stuff has really diluted the value of a buyer's agent. I think a buyer's agent is tremendously valued.
Heck yes.
Valuable. The last thing I want to see is a first-time home buyer that's already, strapped on cash, that's never done this before, coming to me unrepresented as a listing agent and negotiating against someone like me with 20 years experience. That is a lose situation for everybody. They're going to not like me in the end. They're going to have a terrible experience. And then we all have a bad, taste in their mouth with realtors in general. Buyer's agents are tremendously valued. I think they've been undervalued the last several years where, they are just being handed leads and, show up, don't say anything stupid, and you get a deal. And there's so much more to it. There's so much more training that could be offered.
By far. Yeah. I mean, remember, we're here to give great customer service. We're here to help somebody achieve their dreams of their first home, their second home, upsizing, downsizing, whatever it is. And the reward we get for that is called the commission check.
Yeah. And then past clients and referrals.
Yeah. If you want to get commission checks, you have to be able to provide that value in order to help somebody get what they want.
Love it. Perfect. So as a coach, you've worked with, so many agents and brokers, global, probably globally now. You're in not just in the United States. Mm-hmm. And you're still actively coaching, just a few people here and there, because you focus a lot on writing your book, and now you're going to be doing your book tour. So how do you personally assist, as a coach, agents in setting and achieving their career goals?
How do I assist? It comes down to basically three things. We have to determine, first of all, and this is something this is why I got into management, because I've always seen managers say, how much do you want to make, Mr. Agent, Miss Agent? I want to make $100,000. Okay, let's go figure it out, how it's going to happen, which absolutely meant zero to the agent. They just didn't know it. So what I like to do, and what I was taught actually as an agent, was first and foremost, we figure out what it costs them to live. What's their responsibility? I mean, if they have a spouse, whatever it is, what is the agent's responsibility to their contribution to the household? That's number one. Number two, which is probably the most important, is why in God's green earth did they get into this business? What are they trying to achieve? This business is not simple by any stretch of the imagination. We know that. But we have to figure out what motivates an agent to want to succeed. Is it wanting to buy a new car, get out of debt, send their kids to school, whatever it is, donate money to their local charity? I don't care what it is, but it's just a matter of what is it that they're trying to achieve in real estate. And then we look at that list and we ask them, what is it that you want to achieve this year? Now, if they want to buy a house, I doubt they're going to get $500,000 in their first year, but can they save up $20,000? So we just combine, what's it cost them to live? What is it for their wishes or their motivation? Figure out their average commission check, and then figure out how many deals that is. But here's the key. What is the plan of execution to get them there? Yeah. What is it that they're specifically going to do? And that's where accountability comes in. Once we develop, the numbers are the easy part. It's a matter of now, what is the agent willing to do in order to achieve the goals that they've set? And once we establish that and establish a plan, then generally, if the agent is truly, truly motivated, they will succeed. But let me say this, this as well as I do. When I took over that branch, we had 300 agents in that branch. I fired about 125 of them for lack of production. And I could say 99.9% of the time, Every one of them failed because they had no reason to succeed. Period.
That's fair. That's
Period.
fair. And you actually transitioned beautifully into part B of this question. How
Uh-oh.
do agents get, yeah, how, like we talked about what you do to get them to their goal. And I mean, all of that is amazing. And I know you break it down more simplistically in your coaching. What
Yep.
do you see as a coach that causes them to get in their own way? Like you go through, you set the goals, and then what happened?
Yeah, that's always fun. Why do agents get, or how do agents get in their own way? Well, most agents, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but especially newer agents, they watch too much HGTV and they think that's real. And that has nothing to do with real estate. So when we
Yeah.
set goals, we set an execution plan, action plan, whatever you want to call it. They realize it's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? Now they start looking for the magic pill, the easy answer. They're looking on Facebook, they're looking on YouTube for somebody that's going to tell them something different. And the fact of the matter is, it's just hard work. And once you realize that, you get paid very well. But you have to
Yes,
come
you
to the
do.
realization that it's hard work. And once they understand that,
Absolutely.
job becomes so much easier. But that's how they get in their own darn way. They're looking
Why
for
do
the
they resist? Why do they resist the work?
well, because everybody tells them, oh, you'll love real estate, you love houses, and you love people. And we both know we all get over that very quickly. Right?
I'm
And
going to
it's not
insert
about houses.
my PSA here for ladies and gentlemen watching now live or later. Real estate is not selling sunset. That is not real.
Mhm.
We do get to see some beautiful houses sometimes, but sometimes most of the time it's not pretty.
And
If you're dealing with death, divorce, all kinds of things.
there are no commercial breaks in real estate, only in HGTV.
100%. So yeah, thank you for clearing that up, because I think more now, especially more than ever, with the panic and the mindset and all of that, like it's time to get real, ladies and gentlemen. There is great support, great coaches. There's money to be made in this business for sure for people that want to invest in the skills and learning and put in the work.
Yeah.
So
And here's the nice thing. You'll make more money in real estate than any other industry if you just put in a solid 6, 7, 8 hours a day. I mean, they had to do it in their other job that they came from, right?
it's a fact.
They had to show up at 8. They left at 5. They had to do a whole bunch of work in between. And if they didn't do it, they got fired.
Right.
In real estate, we ask them to show up at 8, leave roughly at 5 or 6, do a whole bunch of work in between, and you could earn literally 2, 3, 4, 500,000, $1 million a year. But they don't do them. They look for
It's mind blowing.
Yes.
It truly is still mind blowing to me, even after 19 years. So, all right, I'm going to throw a curveball, so I hope you're ready.
Okay.
So, John, statistically, we all know, through NAR, even our local associations, 60% of the real estate agents are women, female, right?
Yep.
Mothers, wives, daughters, and our brains are wired differently. I can say that, ladies.
Yes.
So
I've learned that
tell
since
me,
I've been married. But
fair
I've
enough,
learned a
Kara.
lot. I've learned a lot.
You have. Kara, I hope you're not watching. I love you.
I love her too.
So, yes, you do. And she's an amazing woman. So knowing this and going into your coaching, right? How do you approach coaching female real estate agents different than their male counterparts?
I would like to say there's no difference, but there's some similarities and a little bit of difference. And mainly, and it's interesting, I have a client that I was coaching, a younger female client just getting into the business, has 2 kids, both very young. I'm not trying to stereotype, it just is what it is.
No.
So this has been my experience, okay? And she said, my priority are my children, not my work. However, I want to succeed in this business. Okay, fine. So, we go through the business planning and all that stuff. but it really comes down to how we look at a schedule for a woman.
Yes.
And I just point blank say, get a blank schedule, take out those hours in which you're going to spend time with your kids. Whether you need to pick them up from school, take them to school, whatever it is. You just want to have fun time with them. You want to be home by 3 o'clock, whatever. Put that in your schedule first. We are going to call that time that is non-negotiable. And then we fill in all the activities of a professional real estate agent's day from there. And then we honestly look at that schedule and we say, is that schedule going to support the goals that that person set? And if not, we have to have a real conversation about the reality of how much time it's going to take. And sometimes they're like, it's going to take me a lot longer to achieve what I want to achieve. But I always ask the question, what's more important? Your kids or the money? Sometimes it's both.
100%. Yeah.
But here's the cool thing. I had an agent a while ago, a female agent, who started off kind of the same way, had a couple kids she wanted to be really engaged with, but she was so disciplined in the time that she was scheduled to work that she earned enough money to be able to hire a full-time nanny. Not that she wasn't going to be with her kids, but she had the option of doing more work or going on more appointments if needed. So that's one thing that we do. The second thing is I always look out for safety issues.
For sure.
You know, we had a client not too long ago. Well, it's going back probably a little more than a year ago at this point. She went into a client's home and the client had a full-blown dinner, candlelight dinner set up.
Oh, geez.
Fortunately, we taught some safety rules and strategies to that female, to that agent. Sure as heck, she used them. Somebody went and basically pulled her out of what was a very uncomfortable situation.
Wow,
So that's just the reality of the industry. We have to deal with it.
Absolutely. And I will attest to the fact that you coached me fairly early in my career, and that is exactly what we worked on. It's now how I coach my young mommies is no one wants to take any time away from your family. Your kids are important. We get it. You know, women tend to be the primary caregiver in the home. And I never missed, you made sure of it. I never missed a soccer practice. I never missed a music recital, a cheerleading competition. And we were extremely efficient in the hours that I was in the office and I was working, and I had very strict and set appointments times in my schedule, and I did not deviate. I was not out till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I did not work on Sundays, and I was very, very successful. So thank you.
You know as well as I do, and thank you for following that program. But one of the things that you were great at, and you still are great at, is a high level of discipline. And that's one of the traits of a great agent.
Thank you. Probably more than now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we were watching over you every day.
That's true. You would come by my office and, do one of these.
Yeah. Are you working? Are you doing your job?
Yeah, but it works. I mean, if you're willing to commit to that discipline. For me, it was like I liked making the money, but it was wildly important for me to make sure that I was still there for my children as the mom and the primary caregiver. And so when I got called a lot of things for it because I would not be taken off task while I was in the office. Oh, yeah. And believe me, I'm a very fun person. I'm a very nice person, but I was there to work because those babies needed me at home by 3 o'clock. So,
and your kids, from what I understand, grew up to be very responsible adults now.
They are. Do you remember them in the role play circle doing the role play with me?
Yes, and you taught them how to sell Girl Scout cookies with a script.
Yeah. They were wildly successful at Girl Scout cookie sales. That is a fact. You guys are all welcome for that. So here's a follow-up question to that, because, I've heard many times, like, the way that men and women present or speak, obviously men can have a lot more power and authority in their voice. So when you're coaching the ladies, I mean, how do you foster and encourage confidence and assertiveness in them so that they can walk in and compete against a guy who's been doing it for a long time and still feel like they're the best agent?
Great question. Simple answer. I role play a lot with them.
Good.
A lot of, let me say, I got to be politically correct, right? Because we know that's not my strong suit.
For sure. For sure.
But as you said, the women have to compete with the men, and sometimes the women are just too amiable in many situations. They don't want to come across too strong, because then all of a sudden they're called all these other names, which if it was a man, they would be, oh, they're aggressive, they're great. But for a woman, they're called a different word, which I think is totally unfair. So the way I deal with that is we practice scripts, we practice confrontational questions, we practice closings until it is so comfortable that they can go up against anybody. There's no magic pill. It's here's what you need to say. Let's practice saying it in a way that makes you just as powerful as absolutely anybody else that's out there. That's number one. Number two has to do with their mindset. They have to believe that they're the best. And how do we do that? We fill their head with great information every day.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Affirmations, gratitude, all of that is incredibly strong, because I'll speak, for my people. We are rough on ourselves, ladies. Yeah, those two people too. Ladies, you are rough on yourselves. Love yourselves. You are great, perfect the way you are. You look beautiful. You sound great. You're just as strong and powerful. So I feel like we are definitely way more critical of ourselves as women. How do we look? What am I? Is my hair right? I mean, you'll see me fumbling with my hair on this. That doesn't happen with a male interviewer. And so, I think that mindset is really the beginning key of making sure that they go in with a powerful presentation.
Well, yeah. I mean, and one way to build confidence is just to practice what to say.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. And, presentation is just not about the words. Presentation is about the tonality. Presentation is about the body language, right? And not only women, but men too. This is what we have to teach.
Yes, 100%.
They're all tight and, be serious. Like, hell no, man. Let's start doing the Macarena, right? Whatever it is, use the body language. It brings the tonality into it, which gives power to the darn words.
It's true. And that is a powerful skill to learn for sure. So getting back to all agents, the men and the women, but staying on a similar task, we always get this question as coaches all the time, like, oh my gosh, I feel so out of balance. And how do I balance the work life? I mean, how do you coach that question? Because I know I get it a lot. The question is, how do you support agents in addressing that work-life balance and their family commitments?
I don't know. How do you answer it?
Honestly, my answer is it's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. And that's the truth. One of the things that our coach taught us, because Nicole and I had very similar coaches, is something's always going to be out of balance. If you're going to give a lot of focus to one thing, something else is going to suffer a little bit. The trick is, how fast could you get a little more in balance? It's basically a push-pull. Family here, work here. You're going to focus a lot on work, a little bit comes from the family. But if you do what if the agent does what a coach asks them to do, then their growth and their success will happen a lot quicker, which will move that continuum back a little bit and balance things out a little more. It's not going to happen at first. New agents want that life work balance right off the bat. It's very difficult because there's so much to learn.
Yeah, definitely a learning curve. So that's real talk right there.
It's a push-pull event. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I've felt out of balance a lot more than I felt in balance. But there's also a time, I think I would add to that, that early in my career, I made a lot of sacrifices. Mike once said to me, success is a measure of what you're willing to give up. And there were non-negotiables. I did not give up that time with my daughters. But I did give up my bubble bath and time for me and going on the vacations I wanted to go or whatever. So there were sacrifices I made. And as you progress in your career and you're able to work your sphere of influence and get more referrals and things, my experience of this is that you can achieve more of it down the road. But like anything else, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a construction worker, whatever, like anything else, you've got to pay the dues in the beginning. So I would say stay the course, stay focused, and know that if you work really hard right now, for 2 years, 5 years, whatever that timeline looks like, depending on your goals, there is much more balance for you in the future.
Yeah, I think if I could just add this real quick, I think there is a false statement that new agents glom onto, and that's you can have all the flexibility and freedom you want in real estate. Big fallacy. Big fallacy. Is one of the rules that I like to teach is that if you want to have flexibility, you must have discipline. Which means if you want time off, if you want time with your kids, you have to be highly, highly disciplined in that time that you do work. You can't afford to screw around, play around, do what your coach says so that you can shorten up that learning curve a lot faster.
100%. And I'm living proof that it does work. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
You have to say, I'm sorry, Betty, I can't talk to you at the water cooler right now. I just came to grab my lunch and I need to get back to work. But, there's definitely some social consequences of that, but it is absolutely doable. And I have a very good life now with, very wonderful kids that I'm now a grandmom and a little grandson. So, and I've designed my life that I get to have it all and spend time with him now. So it's well worth it in the end. So generally speaking, let's switch gears again. When you look at some of your absolute top producing agents that you have coached over the years, what are the key qualities that make a successful real estate agent?
Being the analytical that I am, I'm going to give you 3 bullet points.
Okay, let's go.
Bullet point number 1. They have a high desire to succeed, and they are very clear on what that is. They know specifically why they show up every day, why they get rejected every day, why they get embarrassed every day. Okay. They understand that, hey, I want to have 3 rental properties. I want to take my family on these vacations. I want to pay down my debt, whatever it is. They are clear on what they want. Number 1. 2, they work on mindset every day. Not just when their mindset is bad, like most people do. They work on their mindset every day. That way it doesn't fall too low. Because we know we have good days and bad days. But if you're working on it every day, you will continue to progress in your thought processes. And then 3, they have a diversified set of lead generation sources. They just don't specialize in one thing. I have a lot of agents, I'm great at expireds. I'm great at for sale by owners. No, I always ask agents to have about 8 active ways to generate business. And they always ask me, why 8? Because they're not all going to work all the time.
Right.
We ask them to talk to at least 3 or 4 different sources every day. So if one's not working, pick another source from those 8. And then in addition to the 8, have 2 or 3 passive ways of doing business. Unfortunately, our industry teaches it the other way. 80% passive, 20% active. No, it needs to be the other way around. So high level desire / motivation, whatever you want to call it. They're highly disciplined they work on their mindset, and then they have various various ways to generate leads.
Love that. That's really comprehensive. And the next question that's going to come in is, well, what are the 8 different ways to generate leads? That's a different call. We'll get to that.
That's a 4-hour course.
Yeah, DM me. We've got those answers. It's either in the coaching program or we set up another call.
We do that on a separate call, right?
For sure. So let's take it to the next level, right? And we've talked about new agents. We talked about agents in production.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for agents that are looking to establish themselves as leaders in the industry, like coaches, managers, brokers, recruiters? Like when you took that step up, what advice do you give to others looking to take their business to that next level?
Great question. I've been asked this question a number of times, and just to warn everybody, I have a very strong opinion on this.
Okay. We're ready. Buckled up.
Do not try to be a coach. Do not try to be a branch manager. Do not try to do anything in leadership unless you have done a lot of business. And when I say a lot of business, at a minimum, 50 to 100 deals a year. I have seen people come. I'm working with a manager right now who I think maybe has done 20 deals a year as a max and is trying to lead a branch. And this person has no wherewithal, not enough experience, right, to be able to help agents succeed. I have a person that has literally done 21 deals in 2023 and is now officially a coach. It's like, how could you coach anybody?
I've seen it all over my career too. I mean, why is the business that way? That, and I'm not trying to hold anybody down. Like, I want people to be their best selves, but why is it that, a doctor doesn't do 20 surgeries and call themselves a professor in that art of surgeries? So why is it that in the real estate industry, we have agents that are in the business a couple of years, do 20, 30 deals, and I mean cumulatively over 2 or 3 years, maybe 50 deals, 60 deals over a couple of years. And then, I get the one and give, but like, what is it in this industry that causes the agents to do this?
Well, it's interesting. In my discussion with a lot of managers throughout the country, they got out of production because they didn't like to prospect. And after I'm done laughing and rolling on the floor, I said, you realize you just got into a profession or into a job where you have to prospect. We just call it something different. We call it recruiting.
Right.
As an agent, you have to prospect, do lead follow-up, present, and negotiate. As a broker or manager, you have to recruit, prospecting, lead follow-up, present, and negotiate. You get paid a lot more being an agent. So just do what you're supposed to do as an agent. Don't worry about the other businesses right now.
For sure. There's other ways to leverage yourself. You taught me with showing agents and different things that you can grow with without necessarily having to get into a leadership role, because that's a whole different role, leading others.
It's a different set of skills altogether from being an agent. It's not just a matter of, oh, I did 20 deals, I know a lot. No, it's not that. It's understanding personality styles. It's understanding how to organize or understand what somebody's saying and help them organize their thoughts. It's about creating a message to lead people. It's totally different than being a real estate agent. But being a real estate agent and doing a lot of deals will give you the experience in versatility, the experience in organizing, the experience in being able to focus things so that operations can move forward.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Please
and I would add in
emails.
No. I'm gonna clean it up. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna add to that like leadership for me, because we're not deterring people. You want to be a broker coach, like you coach brokers and managers and recruiters and all that. So we're all into it. But like, I would say if you're going to do it and you've never done it before, get a coach who has done it, who can teach you about leadership. Get a mentor. I'm also coaching and teaching young leaders that are building teams and organizations and networks. And it is a whole different skill set. And I would add to that list, the number one skill set is taking personal responsibility, accountability for everything around you.
Yes.
Because as a leader, you are 100% responsible for all that goes on. And there's a bunch of books I can caption that lead to this. But like, if you're not ready to look in the mirror every day and say, you know, my agent isn't producing at the level that they're at, and it's their fault, like it's my fault, like it's always your fault. Like
Always the leader's fault. I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many managers or even broker owners who I've asked, why don't you consider going back to being an agent? And some have and earned a whole heck of a lot more money and had a much better lifestyle.
Yeah, a lot
Remember,
happier.
when you're a manager or an owner, you are the president and the janitor all at the same time.
So true. I'm the CEO, I'm the CFO, like everything. And it's like sometimes, you know, Kevin will walk by and be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm looking at my bookkeeping. I'm doing my CFO job today." And then when I'm prospecting, I'm in the sales department, and you know, so it's a lot. So leading with that, I mean, we talked about your coaching and mentoring of leaders. What role do you believe mentoring and coaching plays in the development of real estate professionals?
Another great question. I believe mentoring, coaching, whatever combination thereof you want to talk about, I think helps an agent speed up the process of learning this business. Once again, there are so many different messages out there that it confuses the heck out of an agent. They might not think so, but trust me, it does. I've seen it enough in 23 years. So having a mentor or coach will help focus you on what's important based on your goals and your motivations. It shortens up that learning curve if you actually do what the mentor or coach tells you to do. So it's huge in just and cleaning that up. Just my thought.
No, I agree with you 100%. And for me, it was always the accountability. Like I knew no matter how well I was doing and how big my ego got, or how in the dumps things were, you know, when I was going through personal things in my life, like every Wednesday I got to have a call with my coach and just own it, whatever it was, and be led, be coachable to get back on track. And sometimes that was just like, hey, can you talk to 5 people this week? I know you got a lot on your plate. And sometimes it was like, good job, you took 5 listings, why not 6?
Right. Exactly right.
And either way, it was that accountability to another human being. It's just like having a personal trainer. You know, I didn't want to go this morning, but I'm not going to let Greg down. We've been together like 15 years. So, you know, he needs my $60. If I cancel, he's not going to get paid, and I take personal responsibility for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. That whole accountability thing is scary to a lot of people, but it's that fear or that apprehension that causes an agent to get better quickly.
100%.
So
Yeah.
I would suggest to anybody on this call, find yourself a coach, a mentor who knows what the heck they're doing and could hold you accountable, because that accountability is going to cause you, along with that focus, to grow very, very quickly if you choose to. Once again, it's not the coach's responsibility to make you successful. It's the coach's responsibility to keep you focused and giving you the correct message. It's the agent's job to actually go do it.
100%. Yeah, it's a game changer for sure, and it does shorten that curve. All facts. Someone wrote in the chat, give us the overview. They were talking about all the 8 different ways to get business. So I knew that question was coming, but we'll answer that one on another one. You could reach out to us directly, and maybe I
have 31 of them here. I had to do a little presentation for a small team yesterday, and they asked me, how do we generate business? Could you give us different ways? I came up with 32.
Yeah, well, you know, stay tuned. We've been talking about writing a class right along those lines. So you never know what we might cook up in the next few months. So if you guys have any other questions, they're saying yes. If you have any other questions, pop them in the chat now, because I'm almost at the end of my script and there's no close. So, you guys have the open forum. So next question I wrote down for you, John, let's get to the book. This is a big not collaboration. This is a big inspiration to you. I was part of this process firsthand and watching these daily messages go out and the impact they had on so many different people's lives. So tell us how the book became your brainchild and how you executed it and what it means to you.
Okay, so first, I'm cheap plug, right? Cheap plug. Here is the book. It's called 365 Days of Real Estate Wisdom.
Yes.
It's available on Amazon for a whole whopping week now, so please go buy it. But I will tell you, this book was never intended to be a book. About 20 years ago, when I was an agent, I would write down after my coaching calls what I learned. And they were my own little notes. And I would even write questions to myself. What do I need to do to make this happen? Who do I need to engage to help me make this all work, et cetera, et cetera. And I was writing these little messages just to myself. And then I was starting to work with a group of agents at that company. And I used to start sending them the messages that I was writing down. Then when I took over Prudential there way back when, I started knowing that they needed a strong production message. I started writing these little notes or journal entries based on what I was learning from other agents when I was coaching them or talking to them. Well, next thing you know, I have 1,000 or so entries to my little journal.
Wow.
Last year, as most people know, I was down for a year because I got tongue cancer. I couldn't speak for a while. So I decided, now might be a good time to put all of these into a daily inspiration book. And that's exactly what it is. It is a book designed to help salespeople, specifically real estate salespeople, stay inspired on a day-to-day basis. And each entry is only about a page long. Sometimes it's only a few words. Other times it's 2 pages long, but it's all designed, one, to inspire you to take action, sometimes give you a kick in the pants, saying, get your ass to work, right? Hey, there's only 8 days left in the quarter. Have you hit your goals yet? It's basically a mini coach in a book format. So I would hope that people would buy it. It's up on Amazon, and it's just a great way to stay. It's a great way to keep your mindset moving forward. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. We talked about mindset earlier and having affirmations and gratitude. And if you don't have a developed practice yet, this book is a great way to do it. I've got it on my phone because mine's being delivered today. 365 Days of Real Estate Wisdom, available on Amazon. If you received an email from me or even saw the Facebook post, there is a link to my Amazon store. You can go in there and easily click on and buy it. It is not expensive and it's well worth its weight in gold. From the messages that you'll get, because I was a part of this when it was being essentially written.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big book. It's like 423 pages long. So you're getting a lot of information.
Like How do you feel now that it's finally out?
I will tell you, it's like anything else in real estate. You have to put yourself out there. Right? Yeah. Sometimes you get great responses. Other times you get not so great responses. So when I put this out, I was like, oh boy, I wonder what's going to happen. But here's what I knew. Regardless of what the response was going to be, it was a growth piece for me personally. Right? I learned a whole heck of a lot. I learned a lot more about people. I learned a lot about the publishing industry. And I just saw this as a way, let's be clear, you don't make money in selling books. You buy a book, I earn about 50 cents. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So you're not getting rich on the book. It was all about keeping a solid message out there for agents to follow. That's what it
Love
was
it.
designed to do.
Love your commitment to us, always giving, always sharing. Thank you for that. It's
Thank
a
you.
great book, you guys. Pick it up. It's like $20. It's not going to break the bank. Makes a great gift for your teammates, your favorite, receptionist in the office, whoever like you want to give a boost to and some love to. What a great gift to give them. Thank you I know you spent a lot of time putting this together. And it was not easy with publishers and everything else, but congratulations. You finally did it.
Yeah, it was interesting when the formatter got it. She was losing her mind. She says, "What format did you write this in?" I said, "Well, 23 years ago or 20 years ago, it was a program called Word Perfect."
Which I learned in high school. I'm that old.
Yes. Some of it was written in some old email format. So I threw all these things together with 100 different formats, and she lost her mind, but it took her a long time to get it together for me. And I do appreciate what she did.
That's awesome. So I actually do have a closing question. I was not 100% honest. I like to close some of my interviews with this question. So I hope it's not too much of a thinker. So you're John Joseph, and before you ever knew you were going to be a coach or any of that, you're talking to year one in the business, John Joseph. You're talking to yourself in the real estate business today. Yeah, look back at that young man. He's so full of hope. He just got his real estate license. He's ready to rock and roll. What is your advice and coaching that you have for young year one John Joseph?
Oh boy. Four things.
Ooh.
Being the analytical. Here we go. Off the top of my head. One, if I was speaking to myself, learn to accept rejection. Don't take it personally. Learn to accept embarrassment. It's going to happen. There are numerous times I forgot my own name while prospecting. Somebody's told me to wear my name badge upside down just in case I forgot my name while I was prospecting, right? So, learn about rejection, understand that that's just part of the business. Learn about embarrassment, learn about failure, because that is part of the business. And I had the hardest time with that because I came out of the corporate world and I was a pretty high up executive in a Fortune 100 company.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to rejection. I'm not used to embarrassment and failure. I mean, I made it all the way up the corporate ladder. But as an agent, I would have told myself, you know what? You just have to learn to get over those three things and get over them quickly. The fourth thing would be to work on my mindset more quickly. Let's put it that way. I was very slow on that uptake. When my coaches would tell me you have to read something every day or listen to something every day, even my broker back then was providing tapes to help build confidence. That's how old I am. We had cassette tapes. For some of you, you have no idea what those are.
Yeah, but me too.
My old broker would give us cassette tapes to listen to help develop mindset. And I would just kind of blow them off. This is stupid. But I think if I would have adopted the mindset challenge earlier on, the success would have happened a lot more quickly.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So that's my answer. So rejection, failure, embarrassment, and mindset.
They're great answers. Super honest, super authentic. I appreciate you just letting your true self shine today. I know this is not your normal format, so thanks for getting uncomfortable with us. I don't see any other questions, but they've hung in with us for 54 minutes. So wow. I know a lot of people will be watching this on their own time on demand later, but thanks for all of you that tuned in live to see John today. It has been an honor to interview you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
And you are the first person ever to interview me, because I don't do this. But thank you for putting me in this uncomfortable position. I hoped I was able to help some people with some, clarifying what the business is about.
Two things. One, 100% you helped some people today, no doubt. Even if they didn't watch it live, they will later. And number two, you trained a great salesperson, so you knew I wasn't going to take no for an answer when yes was still available. So,
Well, guys, she closed on me like 5 or 6 times.
at least we'll sign the contract.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that said, we will let you all get back to your regularly scheduled Friday night. Thanks for joining us from around the country. I'm not sure who it was in Ohio, but thank you, Alex, for chiming in. Other people said great interview. They had word perfect, amazing book. So lots of great feedback. And maybe we'll do this again sometime. You never know what I'm going to be up to.
You never know. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody that attended.